Hello, I am Ashley, the founder of Elemental Growth. I was going to do this live, however, I don't have enough subscribers for that, apparently, to do that from my phone. It has to be from laptop, and I did just want to get this out while it's fresh in my mind and before I go on with the rest of my day. So today is the new moon of September going into October. This is a great time because this morning as I was taking my son on a bike ride, we have this little chariot that follows behind it and we go down the trails most mornings and most evenings as well. And as I was taking him this morning, there were a bunch of splashes in the water and we realized how big the salmon were and that they were migrating, and that whole process was really amazing way to start our day. And then because it's the new moon, I do these rituals. They are very personal, but now I feel it's almost my job to be sharing them with you guys. So, or with people in general who are open to this kind of concept. So I have started microdosing on and including microdosing psilocybin into my new and full moon rituals. These are rituals I've had pretty much my entire life. However, I add in new tools and techniques and ideologies along the way, and as I've grown, as my business has grown, as I've received feedback, and now as I open up myself and my own chakra system, my throat chakra specifically, to speak my truth a little bit more, to be more authentic and true to myself and true to my viewers. So microdosing psilocybin has been added in for probably at least the last 3 months, I'd say. I can double check the calendar if you guys want exact dates. But yeah, so and what I'm drinking here, this is the kind of come down, the I want to say high, but it's not a high. It really is a sacred journey. So it lasts about 4 hours, this journey, and I'm coming to the end of it now, which is why I wanted to get on camera, why I was inspired to share my story. And I also want to share with you what I'm drinking here, because as I was making it, I realized that it was all a calling. I was being called to use dandelion today, and I was drawn to using the blackstrap molasses that was sitting right beside it. And as I was making it, I was like, this is the part of the trip or the journey that I dread the most, is what is it that the mushrooms are going to tell me to do and make a tonic. It doesn't sound very good, dandelion and black molasses, and I was really dreading taking the first sip, but then I realized once it was in my hand how warm and comforting it was, and I took a sip and I felt nourished, and I realized just then that I really don't dread any of it, that I really truly embrace it all, the good and the bad, and that it's really never that bad and everything's always temporary, that change and transformation can be enjoyable. It can be an experience that you can enjoy. And so I'm gonna show you into my notebook. I do this every time that I go on one of these journeys because I am a health coach, so having these kind of documentations of my own journey helps other people as part of my journey. It doesn't have to be part of yours, but I do recommend having a journal or something to help you navigate your thoughts and to hold on to parts of these experiences that are very transformational. So when I started this journey today, I was feeling pretty cold, and I had a bit of a struggle part of me was telling myself, oh, Ashley, don't sit down, don't lay down, don't take the comforts that you're given here. And then there was another part that was like, Ashley, these are comforts that are given. You do have a couch, you do have a blanket, you do have some nice things on your wall that you can look at. So enjoy it, don't deprive yourself, give yourself what it is that you need. The same things that I would tell my clients if I was guiding them through this kind of a journey. So I did. I laid down. I was feeling really cold and I covered myself with a blanket. I literally then took the blanket over my head and cocooned myself fully. I started moving around a little bit. I closed my eyes and I was starting to see some visuals. Some tears fell softly. They weren't any real emotion attached to them or anything. It wasn't dry eyes either. It was just that my body needed to release. I actually even had the thought come into my mind of salt water at the time. Maybe I just got back from the ocean. I was in North Carolina. Maybe I had to just detox some of that salt water, which even though it is medicine, and trust me, if there's anywhere that you're gonna find me living and settling down, it's gonna be by an ocean. Yeah, maybe even ocean and mountains together, you know. The BC's always been a great place of mine, but I know that when their time is right, I will find it. And so from there, I was really cocooned. I began moving a little bit, asking questions. I was having visuals too, like my eyes were closed and I didn't always want to give in, even when I used to experiment with the heroic dose. I had a hard time sometimes following those visuals. It's still a little bit overwhelming to me. That's why I never got into DMT or anything like that. I really want to navigate and get good at what's in front of me first. So yeah, I came back to reality. I was starting to ask some questions that were coming into my mind. I yelled out to Google, because I have a Google Home here. It was given to me as a gift. It wasn't something I went out and purchased, not really my thing, but again, it was one of those things that I do have, that we do have access to. And it really made it really easy to just yell out and say, I want Native American flute music right now. So that started playing and I really started to dive into these questions. I always try to go into a trip or a sacred journey with intention. So I knew my intention was, I have 3 major life events coming up really soon. I really wanted to get clear on it and my direction. I'll get into those details as we go because a bit of it does come up. So I was rolling around with those questions, but what really came to me was I was asking of my purpose. And this is one that always comes up. I know what my purpose is. I know it. I live it. I follow my dreams, and I have made some crazy things a reality for me. And I know that you guys can all do that too. I still came back to that question again. And the answer that came to me was that I'm a comforter, and I am a nurturer, and I am a guide. You know, I know that I'm a nurturer, but to hear that I was a place of comfort actually comforted me to know that. And of course a guide. I am a coach, but I often use the word guide. But it had a new meaning because it really connected me to the fact that I'm supposed to be sharing these things with you guys now, that I'm helping guide and navigate your way through the matrix, as one of my mentors put it. And so that new meaning really gave me the answer that I was seeking. From there, I also started contemplating death a little bit, because my eyes have really been something that's my eye health or ocular health has been something that has really been bugging me. I have 20/20 vision, but I have astigmatism, and I don't know if that astigmatism is why I see some of the things I see, or if I just really am overly sensitive and I see things. But when I went and had some tests done, they said that that I have like some tangled vessels, something that's really, really rare, and they're going to keep an eye on it because it could possibly be a brain tumor. They said it probably not, it could be anything, and not to worry about it. But still, for some reason in this trip that came up, and I started thinking about what if that is true, and I started thinking about death in general and what that meant for me, and what I would really miss, which of course it really did come down to my son, is just all of that I couldn't possibly miss out on, because it's really the most beautiful and most important part of myself. It's health and legacy, right? That's what my whole business is about. That's what I'm about. But in this death, I started thinking about Cambo. One of the things that I'm going to be doing soon is my first Cambo experience. And Cambo is a legal psychedelic, even though it's not actually a psychedelic. You don't have the same visuals as you would with most. It's true. It's a different kind of medicine where the most common effect is actually that people are purging, which is throwing up a lot for about 45 minutes. And I organized in synchronicity, the cosmos guiding this whole journey along, that 3 of us women would be in the Denver mountains. One of them would be a practitioner named Raven. Then there would be myself and my friend Jana, and Jana is the president of the Amazon Rainforest Conservancy. She's also a friend of mine that I haven't seen since I was in the Amazon in 2015. So it's going to be really amazing to see her in person again and to go through this experience. And really the whole way that it came together was so beautiful and such a synchronicity. But Cambo is not like any of the other psychedelics that have presented themselves to me. It is from an animal. I find animals to be really sacred, and being a Reiki master would be kind to every living thing. And I don't know per se if it is kind to be taking the sweat secretions off of these frogs. I know that they do it in what's considered a sustainable way, because the bark that they use leaves a line, so you cannot, or so that the other shamans know that you cannot use that frog again for upwards of 3 months. And the whole journey with Cambo is that you do 3 sessions within a moon phase, 28 days, something, the moon cycles really mean a lot to me. So what ended up happening is that we're going to do our 3 sessions in 3 days. 3 of us women, this is a lot of 3s, and it's going to be intense. And people have died from Cambo. So in this, these questions around death, that was one that came up again, So maybe it's not something else that kills me. Maybe it's this. But instantly, what came up, and I wrote it down, was I will never be a tadpole again. It is a death. Sorry, I should say that. It is a death. Cambo is a death. You're never going to be that physical being again. You're going to be something new. You're not going to be that tadpole. You're going to be the frog. And what else I heard was that I will never restrict myself to one place or one element. I felt so empowered hearing that, because I'm an air sign already. Borders don't mean much to me. I'm open to all cultures, and I seek cultural knowledge, and I seek hidden messages, and I seek sacred traditions that often get lost when people are immigrating from country to country, and lost to religion, and lost to other cultures' beliefs, and so hearing that really grounded me in knowing that that it's gonna help me with the restrictions that maybe I still have, or that were limiting me, and that, you know, I'm nomadic spirit, but I already knew that. What happened after this journey is I literally just started walking around my home in a circle. I finally came out of the blankets, and I just walked and I do that quite often, just contemplate. I feel like an old man, or like maybe that's how like Tesla or like Einstein maybe felt. And sometimes I put myself in that mindset, even though I'm not. Then I swear they must have been using these psychedelics as a tool too, because I often feel connected in some way. Ego aside, it has nothing to do with ego. It's just the visuals and in general. I'm just going to leave it at that, just the visuals in general. And so I just walked and I contemplated. I always told the ginger. But that's what I did, and I do it quite often. It's one of my dirty little secrets, I guess. And I went into my room because I finally felt ready to like get back to my normal part of the ritual, because every new and full moon I draw a druid card. It used to be tarot cards, but then a druid card deck presented itself to me, and I took them on, and I released my tarot deck to a child in my family, and she had her 13th birthday, so I gave her the deck and a couple crystals and things to help her on my journey. I always like to pay it forward. So in these druid cards, I ended up pulling the boar, or torg as it's called in Celtic language. And this represents leadership, heroism in a world that longs for insights and healing. And if you work with tarot decks or druid decks or anything, you know that there's something to it. It's not just all hocus pocus. It's not all hippy dippy. There is something to it, even if it is just intention in itself. And because of that druid card reading, I started saying to myself, I am open, I am strong, I am a warrior. And I even yelled it out loud. I started walking around my house saying, I am open, I am strong, I am a warrior. And I owned it because it's what I needed to hear. It's what I needed at the time. It's what I felt compelled to do. And I just visualize, if you get into these places, it's so easy to have these kind of restrictions of, oh, you gotta be quiet, or don't let anybody see you. Those thoughts come through my mind as well. But what helps me get through it is to just visualize myself as my son, or as my own childhood self, and own it with a childlike behavior. And that's what I did. I am open, I am strong, I'm a warrior. And I was a child about it, but it felt so good. I also, I started brushing my hair. Native women and men too, hair is so sacred. And I have a lot of grays, and they get pointed out to me quite often because of my young age, and because I don't dye my hair or anything. I always just make the joke of it's because I'm wise. But there's another part of me that also I don't think cares for my hair in the same way and with the same respect as my ancestors did. And so I brought that to my awareness today too. And as I brushed my hair, and I gave love and I gave appreciation, and I put myself in that role as my ancestor, really loving that job and loving hair as an element in itself. And then I looked in my mirror. I often get naked. I didn't this time. Instead of I really do embrace being naked. I didn't feel the need to this time, although I don't think there has actually, in talking about this now, been another time where I didn't feel like I had to. So I was just sitting there and I just lifted up my shirt and I was like, I love my body. I love what it looks like. There's natural change coming in my body now. And I felt really, really good. And I started smiling again. Because it is a really emotional journey. So it was nice to really bring that smile and get my light back, and that was the moment when that switched for me. And then what happened? And then I went and I turned on my volcano. I have a volcano vaporizer. I do also love bongs, even though I have this $1,000 pot smoking machine. I still often use bongs, but I'm stopping that now because I got my teeth done, and so I'm gonna really try to, for my lungs, to make use of this machine that costs $1 million. It really is a $1,000 machine, not $1 million. And again, it was a gift. I didn't buy it, so gifts happen to me. I turned that on and I ground up some. I didn't even actually grind up the weed. I didn't want to break it up, but I took a new bud out of a glass jar and I put it in the vaporizer. I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be new. And I smoked, or vaped, I guess about a bag and a little bit more. I didn't fill up the second bag very much because I knew I didn't want it, but I still took the vapor from what I did blow up for the second one. And from there, I got the calling for the dandelion tea. I started considering or contemplating what I dreaded, but I don't dread any of it. And I think that was part of the contemplation part, is that dread word just came up in general. And it's like, well, do I dread the actual journey? No, because I love mushrooms. I feel connected to mushrooms, even though it's hard. And maybe there is a little bit of dread or resistance there. It's not real because I enjoy it. And what's real to me is the coming out of it, like, that makes sense. So, and then I was, of course, brought it to the drink. Oh, well, maybe I dread the remedies that it tells me or the messages that it tells me, but I don't dread any of that either. It's always for my own good. And as soon as I held this mug, I knew that it was for my own good. As soon as I took my first sip, I knew that it was for my own good and nourishing my body in the ways that it needed it. And I'm going to take another drink now. Dandelion and blackstrap molasses actually taste quite good. What I did was took a scoop of ground dandelion root, and I took a spoonful of, or equal amount of blackstrap molasses. I only put in that much boiling water, and then I filled the rest up with my Berkey, so like filtered water. And it tastes actually quite good, and it was still warm, and so it was still comforting. And I'm gonna probably enjoy this for the next couple weeks daily until the full moon comes and I get a new message. What happened then? I wrote down the things that I had to finish for today while they were fresh in my mind. There's a couple of emails that I have to put out. I also have to go for another bike ride, go get my son. So I wrote that down. I wanted to do some yoga. Instead, I just danced because I felt compelled to do that. I love to dance anyway. I'm probably gonna go outside and do poi at the park with my son later on today, just to move in those ways. Maybe I'll do a little bit of yoga, maybe not. It was on my list for today, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. At least I know that I'm moving, staying active. That is the most important part. I also, coming back to my moon rituals, I always smudge, and sometimes I smudge before my druid reading, sometimes I smudge before taking a dose or a sacred journey, but this time I did after, and that is fine too. I did what I was called to do, and as soon as I burned that stick, which I got from my friend who works with people in the Amazon still, so it was like this, I don't have it here to show you, but it's this really fat sage and mugwort smudge stick, and it burns like crazy, lots and lots of smoke, and I've set off the alarms before. Didn't happen this time, but as I was smudging, I came back to that child again, right? And I was going around my whole house, every single corner. Like, I definitely know how to smudge. I'm Native American. I grew up with this stuff. Also got really into the paranormal and things. So definitely know how to smudge a room and create those good vibes, cleanse out the negativity. And as I was doing that, I just started, I was kind of like public speaking to myself, giving myself a motivational speech. I'm not going to repeat it. I didn't write it. It was just, it came from the heart. I was just talking to myself, essentially, just with, like as if I was a public speaker. I don't know. And then I started saying, I am going to love you to everything that I smudge. I went back to the beginning of my whole smudging experience, and I said to my cupboards, I am going to love you. I said to my food, to my tea, I went into the corners and I saw spiders and I said, I am going to love you. I went to my shoe rack and I said, I'm going to love you. And I put on a pair of shoes I haven't put on in a while, and I'm walking in them right now. I'm going to take them out for the bike ride. Went into my bathroom and I just started thinking about how amazing it is to have a bathroom where you can shower and everything. And I was in there and I was just saying, I'm gonna love you. I saw my cat and I smudged her and I said, I'm gonna love you. I caught my reflection in the mirror and I smudged my whole self. I turned around, smudged up and down. I said, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna love you. In the mirror, I did this to every single thing in my home. I said, I am gonna love you. I also realized how excited I am for my fall elimination. This is a 28-day challenge that I do. They're based off of my book, Be the Change, Your Guide to Elemental Growth. You can find that on my website, elementalgrowth.org, by the way. But the fall elimination challenge is coming up, and I've been working with a couple of people to get the outline together. The tickets went up for sale today or yesterday. And I'm really, really excited because as I'm saying, I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you. I realize how much stuff I actually have to eliminate. I think about myself as a minimalist, but I get a lot of gifts and I collect a lot of shit that I don't need. And I realize that in order to love all of the things that I want to love, I also have to eliminate. So I'm really looking forward to fall elimination this year. I'm getting my excitement back for these programs. And I'm going to say goodbye for now because I want to finish my tea and go get Finn, and I think I've talked as much as I can talk. I love you all so much. I wish you the best on your elemental growth journey. I love you.